What happens when we need more than the treatments? When prevention becomes the way forward and our best friend? Our next esteemed speaker is going to talk to us about how we can get ahead of the curve. Sport is a tool consistently cited as a natural panacea to the plethora of health issues that we've discussed here, from swimming to weight training to team sports. And so it makes sense not only to discuss the positive physical impact of sport, but also the financial and policy investment needed to combat the poor take-up of sports, which we hear about often from women and girls. And with that, I'm going to hand over to the esteemed Stephanie Hilborne Obe. People tell you off when you tell them that. When you say that.
I thought I've got a microphone now. Really great to be here and to listen to you wonderful women. Honestly, it's just, I met some brilliant women at a cricket match, is my job, right? Who I said something, we're going to do some research into later life. I said, later life. So I thought that was actually quite a nice way of saying old people or whatever. She said, wiser life, Stephanie, wiser life. And I have never said anything but wiser life since, and I love the expression. You just think it's wonderful. And I think, I'm going to ramble slightly because after those, what do you meant to say already? But what I feel, I'm 56. I've had great fun with my periods. Please, so pleased it stopped. I actually should have had something on my scene when I woke up saying, did I have periods anymore? So I could just go, yes, like this. Maybe better test. Anyway, there we go. So I'm 56, and what I'm finding, I've been in the charity world all my career. What I find is I'm wiser, and slightly less energy, probably just slightly. But that's my fault, because I'm probably not doing enough sport. But I'm wiser, and you know you've got more to give. You know you've got more wisdom to offer, and frankly, not enough if you're interested in it, which is the stuff you were talking about. So it's very interesting. Right, quickly. So why am I here? And mostly because Holly suggested I should be here. I'm working for a charity called Women in Sport, which has been around for 40 years. It was founded in this country 10 years after Billie Jean King had set up the Sport Foundation in the States. She was obviously an extraordinary campaigner for women's rights to play sport. The word sports switches off a lot on me. Not least women of my age who were tortured by being put in really horrible toweling grey knickers and told to do extraordinary things in humiliating ways. But actually, the word actually connects to freedom from responsibility. If you look at its etymological origin, it's about having fun. And that's basically why women and girls have never been allowed to do it. Because the reality is that from the moment we're born, we are inculcated with stereotype, which is you are there to look after everyone else. It doesn't matter if you're the young one, you are there to be kind to other people because their needs trump your needs. Your needs basically don't matter. And so if you want to have fun, that doesn't really matter because your brother wants to have fun, so your job is to make sure he can have more fun. When you're a little bit older, it will be obviously you look after your kids and have to say your husband. Sorry, men in the audience, I do a talk for men, right, where I'm a little bit less blunt, but I mean, it's not men's sports. Well, not the internet here. But the bottom line is we all do this, women and men, we stereotype our children because we've been stereotyped. So, I've had a girl, I've had a boy. I'm very lucky, they're gorgeous and lovely, and I wish my daughter was here. Because I suddenly realised she might be around the corner, but anyway, I'm not telling her I'm here. When I had the little girl, the midwife did not pass her to my ex-husband and say, oh great, you can play football with her. But they did want to have my boy. Because that's how firmly stereotyping begins. Now with my little ones, as it turned out, one of the highlights of my ex-husband was that his mother was brilliant at cricket. Absolutely brilliant at cricket. Taught him how to bowl a googly. She'd be 80-something now, she used to play for Warwickshire. And so he didn't have any hang-ups about women being good at sport. And the other highlight of my ex-husband, there may be other good points too, but sometimes forget about them. I've never talked about it this much. It was he agreed to do that. We didn't really want to crush our kids, except that they got the blood and throw and catch a ball well. That was like, we didn't mind if they failed their A-levels, if they had to go to university, as long as they could bloody throw and catch a ball. So, and we both agreed that was important for both of them. So we were kind of throwing things at each other. It's too late to call the excuses, they're in their 20s. But they actually did develop unusually good ball skills, very, very young, which seems like a random thing to be sharing. But actually, our research on this sport shows that's unusual for girls. That basically girls do not get taught ball skills. They are told to be careful from a very early age. And then they freak out because it's like a little boy and a little girl, and they're running along the same wall, and then no one's saying be careful to the boy, but they're saying be careful to the girl, and the girl's going, this is creepy, why are they saying it to me? What's behind me? You know, it's scary when people irrationally tell you to be careful, because you assume there's something extremely scary out there. And then we wonder why girls are a little less confident. Isn't that surprising? We just told them there's a weird thing behind them that they're not sure what it is, that's about to creep up and hit them over the head from the moment they're born. So the reality is that by the time our children are starting school, the boys have been stereotyped. We've just done research into little boys. The boys have been stereotyped. If they're not good at football, they may as well not live. Because it is so fundamental to their identity, their status, they won't be popular unless they're good at football. You know, we are kicking the ball, every parent is like making sure their son can play for a football because they just dread the day he comes back in tears from school because basically he's been rubbish at football. Meanwhile, girls have gone in, nobody's taught them any ball skills at all, they can be quite good at cartwheels. That's a positive, except when you're in a skirt. They haven't been taught ball skills. So then you throw them out onto the playground, we go, la-di-da, off you skip, you know, and guess what happens? Surprise, surprise. The boys kick the girls out of the playground, have a great time playing football, bullying each other. I mean, it's not great being a boy either half the time. But the girls end up standing around at the edge, not being active, knowing, not just thinking, but knowing they don't belong on that playground, or playing sport, or being active because they've been put in stupid shoes they can't run in anyway. They're in some ridiculous skirt that they can't really run in. They're really self-conscious about the stupid tights that are falling down and putting them up. And, you know, this is the reality. And so they're forced to talk to the girlfriends. Didn't really ever want to talk to them. They just wanted to be active because we're little, you know, middle-sized mammals. We are DNA. I wasn't the environment, so forgive my briefly talking about us as a wildlife species, but we are. Our DNA is designed for us to be active, outside, in a group. That's what makes us feel unstressed. When we are isolated on our own or inside all the time, we are stressed, which contributes to autoimmune diseases. And yet we are torturing our little girls by telling them, by constraining them from almost the moment they're born. We are making their world smaller. And then we're saying, right, we're going to really help you with your confidence. And it's like, funnily enough, I was not born underconfident. I didn't come out of my mother and go, oh, that's really embarrassing. Look at all this time all over me. You know, it was no, we weren't born underconfident. We do this to ourselves. It's shocking, it's cruel, you've got to stop it. By the time girls leave primary school, their self-belief and their sporting ability is halved, and it wasn't from a high level. And then they go into secondary school, and guess what? We go through female puberty. Now, puberty's not great for boys, either emotionally or snickered at that. At least my son just hit this room for 3 or 4 years. But physically, it's great. You know, he suddenly became easy, big enough to become a sister. You know, he was like a now 6'4", strapping man. You know, he didn't have to deal with sports bras or not having one, and therefore having breast pain, which almost all girls go through, because sports bras are not on most PE kits' lists, and if they were, most of them couldn't afford one. They didn't have to deal with periods and sport periods. 70% of girls won't play sport on their period. That doesn't change for sporty girls and unsporty girls. Even sporty girls play sport on their period. We don't help them at all. We don't really tell girls about what periods are at school, let them know how to manage them at sport. So it's got to get better, this story. Okay, it's getting a bit miserable now. And I haven't even done. Okay, so these are some of the sort of fundamental childhood things. I've been with my mother this morning, she's 93, and I, for the first time in my life, reflected on the fact that my little story of my sporting loving is that I have a lovely dad who taught me to play badminton extremely, unusually well for a 10-year-old. And you know, this was something I was very proud about. And when I look back, my mum could play tennis. I never saw her play tennis, because guess why? She was working as a social worker, cooking, washing, feeding everybody, looking after one parent after another. She had my grandmother and my grandfather living with us. So she wasn't going to be taking me out to play tennis. And I've just realised that's a loss. I never played tennis with my mother. It was the only sport she could play. She was a bit cack-handed at everything else. She was meant to be good at tennis. And I never had that opportunity. And one of the things that Women in Sport, we champion every October, is mothers and daughters playing sport together, because that's something that fathers and sons always traditionally have done. And what a joy that is. And when I've taken my lovely, amazing daughter, who was very good at netball, and I won't go on about why it's still a bit more shit to her than for my son who was good at football, but it was. But when I go to a netball with her, when I go and watch the netball with her, it's amazing, it's so bonding. You know, she's totally into it, because she actually understands the sport. Not with her boyfriend saying, why are you into this? Guess what? I was never allowed to play football. I don't understand what offside is. You're stupid. It's like she loves netball. So we need, I would say, if there's one thing you do, if you've still got a mother around, do something with her that's actually fun. Do some sport with her. Take her out somewhere, because one of the other things we do with time together is look at it from the middle age in. So we've done research into midlife women. Obviously, nearly all midlife women know it would be good to be doing more exercise. Most is usually time deprived. Everyone has been taught that their needs don't matter, but that people allow them to needs do. So if you say to that person who's got a daughter or a niece, that teenage daughter or niece would value time with you doing something active, they will do something active. And the research we've done with teenage girls shows that, especially because of social media, they really trust their aunts and mums more than they do their friends sometimes if they want to branch out and do something new. So there's something about this intergenerational thing I think is so powerful. The dads, by the way, just for the 3 men or something in the room, dads are fundamentally important to their daughters' development of their skills. You got your daughter there? Hey, brilliant. Excellent. So we just got Ryan Moore as a trustee. He was not a bad rugby player for England, many caps. Amazing guy. He's a complete advocate for women's rugby and for women's sport. And he's got 4 daughters. And he thought he was doing everything he could for his 4 daughters to be active. And then, having heard Laura said, she realised that he hasn't been throwing balls at them enough. And that was what he hadn't done. But dads are so important, because dads are stereotype, mostly to, and we know the stats, 50% of dads support their sons for sport, 30% of dads. You just have to throw you off, by the way, if you want to support their daughters in sport, because they don't think it's their job. So dads matter massively to their daughters. So to me, just throw that out there. Oh, what else was I going to say? Health inequalities. Health inequalities, okay. So the other thing I was supposed to say is, if you look at some of the gendered health inequalities, if we were allowed to do more sport, if we had the space, time, because our lovely men in our lives gave us that space and time to do more sport, if we, recognised in ourselves the stereotyping, which I too suffer from, and tried in any way we can to break out of that, then it would help our health. So my mother, 93, bones of an 83-year-old, apparently long bones of an 83-year-old, and the consultant said, when she said, oh, you've got unusually strong bones actually, you're not even osteoporotic, whatever the other thing is. What's the other one? Osteopenia, yeah. I said, do you think it's because she was quite fat when she was a teenager and still played a lot of tennis, so she would have had a lot of great impact? It's true, you've got to just talk practically. And, oh my God, you're a doctor. Well, I said, no, I just understand that impact's meant to be good for bone strength. We lay down 90% of our bone strength, being nervous talking about medical stuff, 90% of our bone strength by the time we're 18. So impact exercise as teenagers really, really matters, but it matters throughout our lives. So health-wise, we go to 105, God forbid. We have got to concentrate on our bone strength. Teenage girls are suffering from an epidemic of anxiety-related, appalling illnesses, experiences. Self-harm is 5 times higher in young teenage girls. Eating disorders are out of the scale, and tragically, even suicide has been rising amongst young women, which it hasn't been in any other group. We have got to get our young girls active and doing sport. You can't look at your phone while you're playing netball. It's one of those few things you can't, you absolutely can't look at your phone. Give them that freedom and understanding and love of their body and connection with their body, and that, I mean, look, when the Lionesses won, could we just have a cheer for July? July 2022. And when the great sports bra moment happened, I mean, what do we all feel about that moment? It was just pure joy, wasn't it? But shared joy. And we need to give our girls more of those moments. I've got to stop there because I could just go on forever. That's probably it. Take it for yourself and give it to others, and just connect to the joy of being active in sport.